Welcome to video 2, Fundamentals of Structural Modeling using SAP 2000. Today we are going to see the concept of development of grid system for 2D problems. So as we know, all softwares, initially when you are going to initiate the model, the software specifically asks the number of grid lines for the user. So today we are going to see the logic behind the development of grid system, particularly for 2D. So this is a beam problem. So one important logic here is you can able to adopt. Here the number of grid lines is equal to the number of supports, main supports. You should be able to see the main supports. So this is a 2D problem. The software initially it will going to ask how many number of grid lines are required along x direction, y direction and z direction. So as we know, in any software, the concept of global axis, you should always able to identify. So which one is up? That is most important. Here in SAP 2000, the vertical is Z direction. So always you should able to identify. So which one is up or which one is which global axis represent the upward direction. So here in the SAP, the Z direction represent the vertical here. Here is just a representation, but as per the SAP 2000, so horizontal is X and vertical is Z. So one more axis, that is Y axis, it is inside your screen, let us say. It is going inside that we can able to represent using the dot. So that we need not worry. So here the working plane, always for the 2D elements, the working plane is X and Z plane. So if you see, so this working plane, the screen, the computer screen, what you are using or laptop screen, that is in the X Z plane. So this is XZ plane. XZ plane. So always for 2D problems, the working plane is XZ plane. Then, so the number of lines required along X direction, how we are going to decide? It depends upon number of main supports. So if you see, the main support is one is hinge support and another is floor roller support. So there is one and this is two supports. And what about Y direction? Y direction is the one line which is going inside your screen, for example. Here we can't able to see that. So this is a dotted because this if you see just right dot, this Y axis is going inside your screen, vertical line. So that we need not use. But here the number of lines required along Y direction it is 1 and Z direction it is 1. Always first level, the 0 level indicates the level 1 in SAP 2000. Okay. So what about this one? Here again you identify the global axis. So for SAP 2000, your global axis is X direction. This is the X direction and this is the Z direction, and this dotted line is nothing but your Y direction. This is your origin 0 0 0. Again the number of grid lines required along X direction indicates the number of supports. Here the again two number of supports, two Y direction is 1 and Z direction is 1. Okay. So what about here? So if you see, first you identify the origin. The another logic here is first you identify which one is the origin. This one is the origin where the coordinates of x, y, z is 0. Okay. But what about global axis? Again, the global axis the same. This is the x direction and this is the z direction, and the dot, this dot represent the y direction. So the number of grid lines required along x direction is how much you are going to take. As I told, it depends upon number of supports, but one more is the overhang. So here, in order to tackle the problem clearly, you can able to choose the number of grid lines is equal to 3. Other option is you choose number of grid lines along x direction is 2 and you create one more node. Okay. Grids along the third grid is optional for you here. Again, y direction is 1 and z direction is 1. So here the number of grid lines along x direction is equal to number of supports. So 1, 2 and 3 supports. So 3 direction, and the y direction is 1 and z direction is 1. So this is which plane? This one is xz plane. So the working plane for 2D elements in SAP, you should fix on to xz plane. So here the number of grid lines required along x direction is 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, this is not 3 and this is 4. Okay, so this is required along x direction is so 4. So this is 4. Okay. Y direction is 1 and z direction is 1. So this is how you should be able to fix the number of grid lines, which is the most important part in the development of your a problem, or if you want to develop your 2D problems. Okay? This is the concept of development of grid system. So in the next video lecture, we are going to see the same problems how to model in the SAP.